Andrade has been released by WWE, and it sparked a lot of conversation on the internet as to what was the reason behind his release/firing. A lot of people pointed to the creative, a lot of people pointed to his own doings. It literally sparked a whole debate on social media. But one thing is for sure, his release came to a shock by everybody, considering it wasn't that long ago that he had returned to the company. His last successful run was with NXT all the way back in the late 2010s. He then got called up to the main roster, and yeah, he won championships there and there, but he wasn't being booked well. So he asked for his release and he was granted his release. He then goes on to AEW. His run begins great, but then it fell off a cliff. Andrade, if you really think about it, in AEW kind of got lost in the shuffle. His last match was against Miro at World's End 2023, and this was when he asked for his release from AEW and he was granted his release. But he left AEW on good terms. He comes back to WWE. Everybody's excited because, of course, it's Andrade, it's Triple H. Triple H at that point in time was the only guy that booked Andrade well, and there was really a whole lot of nothing there. It's been almost 2 years and WWE hasn't really done something special with Andrade. Yes, he's had the best of 7 series with Carmelo Hayes last year, and yes, they were starting to establish him and Rey Fenix as a tag team, but that was really about it. There was a lot of start and stop pushes with Andrade, and there was no real substance. But there's more than meets the eye when it comes to his WWE release, and I'm here to talk about it. What's up? I'm yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays, and this is the truth behind Andrade's WWE release. Before we get into all this craziness, please make sure to like and subscribe to the Wrestle Havoc channel right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. So this past Saturday, it was learned that Andrade has quietly left WWE, and from what it looks like, he got released from the company. I'm reading this from the takedown on Sports Illustrated. On Saturday, it was revealed WWE quietly cut ties with the former United States champion Andrade, moving him to the alumni section of the company website. The takedown on Sports Illustrated would soon learn that Andrade's departure was not mutual and that the company released him from his contract. So right off the bat, something was going on behind the scenes with Andrade and WWE, because clearly you can say he wasn't being booked well, and that is a valid argument to make, but this was a decision solely made by WWE. It is not clear as to whether or not he's ever requested his release, but the decision to cut him was on the company's violation and not related to budget moves, which is what a lot of people expected. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer would reveal on Saturday night that the release was disciplinary, which the takedown on Sports Illustrated can confirm. We can also add more context as to what sort of discipline Andrade was facing. Multiple sources indicate to the takedown on Sports Illustrated that Andrade had at least one wellness policy violation during his most recent WWE run. It is not known how exactly he was in violation of the policy, or whether or not, in fact, he tested positive for a banned substance. WWE can suspend talent for failing to produce a test. It is also not clear if it directly led to his release, but it was not noted he was suspended without pay as a result of it. Initial reports noted that he had not been backstage at SmackDown as of late and was not listed on the internal rosters. The takedown can add that he was told to leave the taping last month and he was escorted out of the building. A high-level source asserted this dismissal from the building in relation to his most recent suspension, and that it affected major creative plans for his tag team with Rey Fenix. Bodyslam.net's Corey Hayes reported on Saturday night that WWE had tried to get in touch with Andrade for several weeks, but had been unsuccessful. The takedown on SI can confirm that at this time, though the incident at SmackDown was set to have occurred in the middle of August. Now, this is not the first time that Andrade failed a wellness test. While sources indicated there was at least one wellness violation policy this year, this would not be the first with the company. WWE announced in January of 2020 that he was suspended for his first violation of the policy, which resulted in a 30-day suspension. He would leave the WWE the following year, and then he jumped ship to AEW, where he would perform until December of 2023, which was, by the way, that match against Miro at World's End 2023. There, he also faced disciplinary action following a backstage incident with Sammy Guevara, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrade was the one that threw the first punch. Keep in mind, this was during a wild time in AEW. He would return to WWE at the 2024 Royal Rumble and last performed at SummerSlam in the six-pack TLC match. So this is actually very, very, very interesting to say the least. Again, I'm going to be honest, Andrade is somebody that WWE should have booked well. There were so many different opportunities for Andrade, so many feuds that you could have booked Andrade in, and WWE still didn't book him prominently. And I'm definitely going to blame WWE on this as well. But also, with all of these reports coming out regarding Andrade and his release. Number one, if Andrade was taking some sort of substance that was banned, of course he's going to get suspended. But also, guys like Meltzer and the Takedown by Sports Illustrated are talking about how he's facing disciplinary action. You also need to take that into consideration as well. Look, at the end of the day, WWE just does not play. The backstage atmosphere in AEW is completely different than the backstage atmosphere in WWE. WWE is way more professional. And if Andrade at the end of the day is facing disciplinary action, then all of the stuff that's happening to Andrade at the end of the day falls on him. And what's ironic is that this is a pure example of the grass not being greener on the other side. And once Andrade came back to the company, a lot of people had high hopes for Andrade, considering Triple H was the head booker. Triple H at that point in time was the only one that booked Andrade relatively well. And that was, of course, his initial run back in NXT. This guy's a former NXT champion. A lot of people pointed to his recent divorce with Charlotte Flair, which, let's be honest with ourselves, that's none of our business. A lot of people were pointing at the language barrier and the fact that Andrade was just not speaking good English, which on one hand I understand, but also WWE didn't do anything to help Andrade in that matter. The best possible thing that WWE could have done was pair Andrade with Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega was a perfect mouthpiece for Andrade, and WWE just didn't do that, which makes no sense whatsoever. Again, Triple H was the same guy that booked Andrade relatively well back in NXT. And the fact that Triple H didn't even do that for Andrade speaks volumes. But although we can blame WWE, we also have to put the blame on Andrade. Now look, failing a wellness test should not really result into firings, because there have been many instances of many wrestlers failing the wellness policy. We've seen that time and time again. But if these reports are true and Andrade was facing disciplinary action, then at the end of the day, Andrade is the one at fault, unfortunately. Now, where is Andrade gonna go? Remember how I always said the grass is not always greener on the other side? Well, his recent run in WWE definitely showed that. But I stated at the beginning of this video, Andrade did not burn bridges with AEW like a lot of other people did. Normally, when you see a guy that got released from WWE go to AEW, you tend to see that arrogance with a lot of those ex-WWE guys. Miro is a pure example of that. This guy sat at home for literally almost a whole year, and he turned down creative pitch after creative pitch after creative pitch. At this point, AEW should have just released him then and there. But they didn't do that because they just wanted to keep him away from WWE, which literally makes no sense. You're wasting money for no freaking reason. But that's just one example. Andrade was one of those people that didn't burn a bridge with AEW. But if he goes back to AEW, is AEW gonna book Andrade well? I doubt it. We've seen it the first time, and yes, he's had great matches, but that's all he had. There was really no direction with Andrade in AEW. What makes you think a return to AEW is gonna change that? Tony Khan's booking philosophy now is exactly what it was last year. It's the same thing. Now, I will say their product has improved, but Tony Khan still books the way that he does. What makes you think he's going to change the way he presents Andrade? What makes you think he's going to book Andrade better? Could Andrade go to TNA? He's going to make a lot less money, that's for sure. And also, WWE has a lot of influence in TNA, even though they don't own TNA. So is that a viable option for Andrade? He could easily go to Japan, but also he could easily make a return to CMLL. I mean, people need to understand CMLL is booming in business right now. Like, people talk about WWE selling out constantly. CMLL in Mexico is like 10 times greater. It's insane. And a return to CMLL would be great. And it's crazy is that WWE purchased the majority interest of AAA, and WWE didn't do anything with Andrade in AAA, which is crazy to think. Now, I believe he was a former CMLL guy, but if WWE has majority interest in AAA, don't you think that whole philosophy of CMLL guys not going to AAA because there's just bad blood between the two promotions is out, considering WWE already owns it? Like, it just makes no sense. But I would definitely see Andrade possibly make a return to CMLL. MJF on social media even called out Andrade, so we're gonna have to wait and see. Could Andrade have a dual contract with CMLL and AEW, considering both CMLL and AEW have a partnership with one another? That could very well be. A lot of wrestlers have dual contracts with AEW and CMLL, but Andrade is super talented that he's gonna find work. But at the end of the day, you can definitely blame WWE for their booking problems with Andrade. The fact that the same guy that booked Andrade super well in NXT fumbled Andrade on the main roster speaks volumes. And what's crazy is that AEW not only fumbled Andrade, but WWE also fumbled Andrade. Like, it's wild. But again, as I've stated earlier in this video, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Just because you leave one place to go to the other doesn't mean you're guaranteed success. Every wrestler is different. Like, when a wrestler gets released, all of a sudden people think that they're going to be booked better in AEW, and vice versa. We've seen it time and time again when a WWE guy goes to AEW. And this is one of the first instances instances where a guy left AEW because he wanted to be booked better in WWE, got fumbled in WWE. So it's crazy to think, man. It's crazy to think. A lot of stuff happened in WWE this year, man. A lot of negative stuff happened in WWE. A lot of people are getting turned off from the product. That's for sure. But also, again, you can definitely blame WWE, but also you have to blame Andrade if all of these reports are true. If Andrade has to face disciplinary action, then that is on Andrade. But you'd be a fool to think that Andrade can't find work, because Andrade is super talented. And my best bet is probably AEW or CMLL, because again, he didn't burn that bridge with AEW. If you are a wrestler, the best thing you can do is not burn bridges. And Andrade didn't burn a bridge with AEW. He just didn't. Tony Khan even went on record at the World's End press conference back in 2023 and spoke highly of Andrade. So Andrade will definitely find a place to go work. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Andrade being released from WWE. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications. Look out for more videos right here on the Wrestle Havoc channel, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the friggin' referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. As always, it is yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays, signing out. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.